What is up, you guys? It is your boy Keeper Brew. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. I'm sorry for the double upload, but Assassin's Creed Mirage just got its first review video from IGN, and you know I have to watch it and tap in. I grew up with Assassin's Creed. I didn't get to play early access, and I'm a little hesitant as to buying the game. So I want to see what's going on. Are they going back to their roots? Or are they sticking to that Valhalla approach with all the RPG looter mechanics? I just really used to like the silent, the sneaking part of it. I didn't like the fact that when the newer games came out, they kind of lost that sense of being an assassin and they just became more of just third person combats. If you get my message. But let's get it started so we can see if Ubisoft is treating us right or if they're doing us dirty.
During the same year the first iPhone was released and Prince played Purple Rain at a halftime show where it literally rained, another bit of culture was changed forever. The first Assassin's Creed was released. Not everyone loved Ubisoft's approach to stealth and action, but it was widely agreed that this game was onto something. In the 15 plus years since, its many sequels traded stealth for something far bigger and flashier, but lost sight of the very spirit of how it began. Assassin's Creed Mirage takes a lot of important, imperfect steps to get back to its roots. It's not the most ambitious of games, but it does restore hope that there's still room for a version of Assassin's Creed that we haven't seen in almost a decade.
From all the gameplay that I've seen, the game just feels like it's like the universe is built upon that old Assassin's Creed vibe, and I like it. The climbing and all that. The last one I truly enjoyed was Black Flag, and I just liked how everything just felt like it was built for you to climb up like an assassin. The parkour was great.
Stealth is king again in Mirage. Ubisoft has done away with XP and levels entirely, meaning every enemy is just a hidden blade away from doom if you play your cards right. It's refreshing to approach a scenario and weigh options for tackling it based on its many moving parts, rather than simply considering if the loot is worth it.
If he gets in my way again, I will kill him myself.
Early on especially, the threat of fighting multiple enemies at once is so daunting that using sharp timing in the environment is a necessity. Even more than in the pre-Origins games, it's important to make vigorous use of precariously hanging dock supplies or conveniently place spice bags to cause enough chaos to cover your moves. Our character for this relatively short Assassin's Creed adventure is Basim, Eivor's mysterious frenemy from Valhalla. He's fine, but after over 20 hours spent learning the leading man's history, it hasn't really made him more interesting most of the time.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry I stopped it, but I completely was enthralled by the fact that they said they got done with levels and XP. And if you actually were good at being an assassin, you could get the job done. The whole XP system was alright. I get it that they were trying to add a little bit more complexity to the Assassin's Creed games, but that's not why we played it. We truly just played it to sneak and attack. Truly.
His origins as a plucky cut-purse with a heart of gold turned vengeful assassin feels like the most fast-forwarded Hidden One story in the series.
It is no inconvenience to stand up to our oppressors as the Hidden Ones do.
Before the blood from his slain friends dries, he's trust-falling into haystacks and chopping his own finger off. By the end, it's still a mystery how this guy became the scheming triple-crosser we met years ago. That said, Basim's story is far shorter and more linear than those of the recent Witcher 3 inspired games, and the adventure is better for it.
These are not strong leads, but they are a start nonetheless.
Your main tasks start on the investigation board, a web of leads and clues that all point towards the main targets. Solving smaller issues often leads you to bigger reveals, which in turn take you further and further up the chain until you get to take another stab at the big conspiracy that's causing all this commotion. Admittedly, the board makes things feel more open-ended than they truly are, but breaking the stories into little chunks that keep expectations clear and concise does wonders for the pacing of a game like this.
This
Of
game
course,
looks old.
when he came to us, he was little more than a common thief.
In a good way. Like, the game looks old, but it looks like an old Assassin's Creed, which is not a miss. If I said old in regards to, I don't even know. If I said old in regards to like an old trash game, that would make sense, or a game that's just outdated with outdated mechanics, that I would agree. But man, Assassin's Creed, when it launched, that parkour and sneak system was just so elite, man. Like the old Splinter Cell games, man.
scrambling to survive on the streets of Baghdad.
Though it is more focused, Basim's quest is pretty lackluster in relation to the other games in the series when it comes to surprises and twists.
Something big is happening soon. I do not know what.
Save for maybe the final 4 or so hours, his hunt to track down members of the villainous Order of the Ancients is rather basic and predictable. Each of them and their flunkies are staunchly, almost cartoonishly evil without any nuance, and are a disappointing reminder that we haven't had another big bad as complex as Haytham Kinway or as cackling mad as Rodrigo Borgia in years. With the exception of Basim's own master Roshan, brought to life expertly by Shohreh Aghdashloo's distinctively smoky voice,
Your day to display your prowess will come, but this day belongs to Basim.
the supporting cast of Mirage is no more than adequate, both as characters and in their performances.
Seek me out when your voice begins to break. Then we will talk.
Among the best characters, though, is the city of Baghdad.
My guy said the most amazing character is the city. And I do agree that the city itself has been looking great. That old, dusty, it looks like Prince of Persia, and I've always been a fan of that whole vibe. I like it. I love it so much. So far it's been good after good. I know they'll get to the bad, but no XP, no levels, linear story. You can sneak and actually kill people. That to me is what Assassin's Creed truly is. Unless they just completely drop the ball in the second half of this video, right now it's seeming like an old Assassin's Creed game. And I'm digging it. A short and sweet is always better than long and tedious.
The different districts, from the dense bustling heart and the round city to the dusty slums and Karkh, feel busy and lived in a way that hasn't been present in the series in a while. It's full of busy streets full of people to blend in with, and city blocks with open homes you can sprint through while eluding pursuers. Things you'll be doing a lot thanks to Mirage's notoriety system. It's a throwback to the Ezio days that scales up the efforts to take you down based on how many beehives you're kicking around town.
Hey, you!
It gets very tough to escape guards' lines of sight simply by running. If you can't hide, removing wanted posters and paying off town criers can help to clear your name.
I need to get rid of these.
That said, there are no singular moments or landscapes in Mirage that really make a big impression like the Great Pyramids in Origins or Athena's statue in Odyssey. On the whole though, the golden rolling dunes and tropical oases are beautiful, and the city and its suburbs have plenty of alleys and nooks to explore if collectible hunting is your thing. Ubisoft's renewed focus on a smaller region has allowed it to flesh out more of the details, and that's a win.
I just like it. I just like the way everything looks.
Another thing that really shines in Mirage is your set of tools, especially when you upgrade them to increase effect ranges or have dramatic additional effects. This one dissolves the bodies of anyone you kill with a throwing knife, destroying all evidence of the deed. Realistic? No, but extremely useful. Basim also has a special stealth kill combo ability that functions almost like Deadeye in Red Dead Redemption. It's powerful, but balanced by the need to charge a special meter by performing quiet kills the old-fashioned way, and that it can only be activated when you're anonymous. The locations you infiltrate here aren't exactly better or more interesting than we've seen in recent years, though. If you've slunk through one hardened location in an Assassin's Creed game, you'll be well equipped for the sorts of hallways, underground docks, and fortified walls you'll need to tackle here. Guards are still pretty easy to manipulate and lack basic self-preservation skills when spotting any uncovered corpses you leave behind. It makes up for a lot that there are some new and returning ways to sneak into and soften up the fortifications. Bribing a merchant to let you pretend you're one of their helpers delivering goods is a great way to saunter through a gate you wouldn't be allowed in otherwise. In a later section, many different parties are congregating in the courtyard of a wealthy target's manor, and helping a group of indentured people riot against their captor can cause enough of a commotion to lure the big man into a trap. That sort of approach makes the world feel more alive and real, and takes cues from fellow stealth assassination games like Hitman. When you have no choice but to openly scrap, combat is more limited than it's been in recent games, but still challenging.
Goodness
Basim
gracious.
only has one style, using a sword and dagger to become a spinning dervish of death by weaving quick and heavy strikes together for short combos. You can switch between many types of swords and daggers, each having unique combat abilities you can mix and match, but the differences between them is rarely so impactful that they'd make you want to change up your playstyle around them. However, it's easy to see a scenario where some fully upgraded weapons and armor sets could be more vital at a higher difficulty than the standard one. The pace of combat is jarringly slower and more deliberate than we've become accustomed to, especially coming from Valhalla's bevy of weapon types and special attacks, but Mirage certainly has its
I
charm.
wonder if it's slower not because the combat itself is laggy and slow, but because the combat is meant to be more drawn out. Like you're actually like you're a- as an assassin, you're supposed to be looking for those critical hits. As an assassin, I mean, I'm not an assassin, but hey, you have to be looking at what spots they're weak to, when you can get an opening. So I kind of understand where they're going with slower. Being really fast at killing people isn't exactly realistic. You can't just over and over again unless you're Splinter Cell.
Arms. There's heavy emphasis on counters and dodging incoming attacks, enforced by the sometimes erratic attack patterns from enemies mixed with the high damage they do in melee. Attackers don't wait for their friends to be cut down before taking their turn to come at you, so you often need to avoid multiple swings at once, and engaging more than 2 or 3 guards at a time can be oppressive.
Oh my gosh.
There are very few enemy types, but the saving grace is that regular and heavy soldiers can vary slightly based on the weapons they have. You always have to be aware and adjust accordingly, and I never found myself wanting for new challenges. For as much of Mirage's design feels like a callback to old eras of the series, combat feels like the biggest change that's unique to this game, and it works very well.
Good.
Another thing that's been scaled back and focused is Mirage's ability tree. The 3 branches are focused on killing, scouting, and gadgets, but they only have 7 skills apiece to unlock, but each one has a much more dramatic impact on how you'll want to play.
Okay.
Some simply help you do the things you can already do, but better. Some feel like features that existed by default in older games, but they're all worth the skill point they cost, and there's no commitment since you can respec all of these points at any time for free. You're only ever a couple of minutes away from a new character build.
Let's see what score they give it. If they give it a 7, I'm
Assassin's
not
Creed
touching
Mirage's return to the stealthy style that launched this series doesn't do everything right, but everything it does feels like it was done with purpose. This means a shorter game with a smaller map, fewer collectibles, smaller scope in combat, and a limited selection of gear to play with, all of which is refreshing relative to the arguably bloated scale of 100-hour games like Odyssey and Valhalla.
Yes.
It also means an overly simplistic plot with mostly forgettable characters. But what the story lacks in depth, it makes up for with its straightforward quest progression and fast pacing. Though there's no big standout wow moment, Baghdad is a beautiful location in its own right, and the world's detail is focused inward, making every alley and hovel feel well-traveled and full of detail and history. It's easy to recommend Mirage to anyone who's lapsed on Assassin's Creed, as its back-to-basics approach is a successful first step in returning the feeling that the earlier
Okay, we're done. They gave it an 8. It's great. So basically from that whole video, I got that this game is using some mechanics that are old, changing some of the new, which is great. I don't understand why when, Origins came out, they just completely switched the entire formula. Some people love those games, but personally, man, I just couldn't get into the whole RPG system that they try to implement in those games because Assassin's Creed to me was just about being the assassin. It didn't matter what weapon I have. They could have given me just the hidden blade. That's it. That's all they needed to give me. The hidden blade and a throwable. That's it. I don't ask for a lot. I don't ask for a lot of skills. I just ask for a good quality experience. Can be 8 hours long, can be 10 hours long. It just needs to be good. It's why I enjoyed the Resident Evil 4 remake so much because it was a high quality game, and that's why I've enjoyed all the RE remakes. They're so high quality, enjoyable. They're the same story we've have experienced before, just told in a different perspective, a different way, more updated, and it's still just simply amazing games. So it's not truly about the scope of the game and how many hours it's put in. Nobody cares if a game is 100 hours versus 10. Reality is 100-hour games can be either the most amazing experiences you've ever had or the most drawn out, disgusting, content filled pieces of dookie. For example, Baldur's Gate is very long, but the content is there to justify that length of play. Valhalla is not as fun as Baldur's Gate, and it's about too much time spent on the game to complete it and do all these little side quests. It's just, to me, saturated. Give us short and sweet if you cannot provide long and tender. That's it. Long and tender is rare on the occasion. But short and sweet for an Assassin's Creed is just exactly what we need. This month is filled with some bangers, guys. We got Spider-Man cooking. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Lies of P just came out, man. This month is filled with some absolute heat, and I truly cannot wait to play Spider-Man. And honestly, after this review, I might suck it up and purchase Mirage. I'll look at some more reviews, guys. I'm glad I could bring this to you. They just uploaded this video. I'm not doing this as my own review. I'm just watching this to know if I should purchase the game. I'll leave a link down below so you guys can support IGN. So, with all that being said and the video being done, remember to leave a like and subscribe. Keep it real out.